Welcome Hex and Counter players to Wargame Design Studio Korsun 44, or the battle that was known by the Germans as the Cherkasy Pocket. By January of 1944, the Soviets had a strong bridgehead to the west of the Dnieper, north of Kiev. All the Germans were holding to the south was a small area near Cherkasy, which was about 122 kilometres south-southeast of Kiev. This is the planning map, and as you can see in the red circle on the eastern side is Cherkasy on the Dnieper River, and in the centre of the German position is Korsun. It was quite obvious to Manstein that the salient was a risk for encirclement, but Hitler gave his stand firm order. And this is a view of the campaign map. You can see Cherkasy there on the Dnieper, and straight to the west is Korsun. As usual with Wargame Design Studios games, there's some very interesting information in the notes PDF, but I'd like to read to you some very interesting comments in the Korsun 44 alternate campaign documents. A summary from Korsun 44 alternate campaign changes part 1. So the alternative assault resolution is now recommended as a default, and I think for most of the recent Panzer campaign releases that has been the case, and this simply reflects the increased horsepower of the PCs we all own these days compared to 10 years ago. With the new changes to the rules for range fire, the range mod value in the PDT has been changed from 3 to 1.5, and all vehicle and AT gun heart attack values have been decreased by about 25%. This tones down the tank on tank, AT gun on tank combat a bit, while at the same time making ranged fire, particularly at a range of 2 hexes, more effective, so that's very interesting. Specified a standard 60% night movement disruption value. So now if you conduct non-strategic movement at night, then there is a 60% chance plus that the moving unit will be disrupted. Established a 1% chance for engineer units to create bunkers in a trench. Established a 10% chance for mine-laying engineers to create a 1-by minefield in a hex. Established a 2.5 heart attack modifier for artillery units that fire at 1 hex range. Implemented severe Russian winter ground conditions. And that makes sense if you've read the history of the Korsun campaign. Standardised Russian and Russian Guard unit quality ratings. The same thing is part of that discussion. To that end, there is no real justification for Red Army units to be of sporadic quality levels between B and E, but rather a standard average quality of C and D for combat units, and varying quality levels ranging from excellent to terrible for individual headquarters. Many vehicles and guns were more or less the same ratings, but where it differs is in the hard attack strengths of later war tanks and the defence strengths of some units, and the overall lower assault ratings for armour, making infantry more powerful assets, vital for successful assaults, Most of the deviation from the stock values begins to occur in the middle and late periods of the war. For example, turretless tank destroyer vehicles are now almost impotent in assaults, however they are stronger defensively. Combat is now more of a ranged affair, so that's very interesting. Anti-tank guns, for the most part, are much more powerful now and have longer ranges, but by the same token they are also more vulnerable to artillery strikes and are almost completely impotent against infantry, except for a few select anti-tank guns. Assault guns and tank destroyers are now very anemic in the assault category. This is primarily due to the fact that they have no turret and must pivot steer in order to aim their weapon systems. This makes them extremely vulnerable to infantry assault. Infantry have now gained a greater importance. Armour is also vulnerable to ambushes by anti-tank guns. German pioneers are very effective at leading assaults. Soviet SMG battalions are just about second to none in assaults, but rather weak at ranged fire. Soviet rifle infantry are, as they should be, not very effective on a one battalion basis, and he does mention this in other areas. They should attack en masse. Once again, as the Germans, use your pioneers when assaulting. For the most part, German armour and infantry can take large casualties in assaults if you are not careful. Where their real strength lies is in their direct fire effectiveness. As the Russians, you will find that the role is reversed. Soviet troops are generally not very effective in direct fire, but they are very effective in assaults. In the past, artillery was somewhat effective against bunkers, but now they are not. You will find that using AT guns and tanks, mortars and aircraft are rightfully the best units to use against them. I think we mentioned the 10% frozen penalty. In order to better represent German difficulties in replacements in the latter years of the war, German recovery rate for 44-45 alts have been lowered to 1%. A very good point there, I thought. In order to better represent Russian improvements in the supply of replacements in the latter years of the war, Russian recovery rate for 44-45 alts have been raised to 3%. There's also been an adjustment to the supply levels. And that's it for part one. So some very interesting stuff in there and always worth a read. Part two of that document mainly deals with scenario development and various order of battle issues. Worth a read, but I'll leave that up to you. So after all that said, let's have a look at our scenario. So I've just picked the first Medvin scenario, and we'll look at the PDT for that, and then we'll open up the alt and check that one. So, okay, no, we'll go the Russians rules, alternative assault resolution. Okay. So there's our map. We'll hit F3. Note here, night move disruption is 0%. So then we'll go File, Selection, New by Length, First Medvin Alt. Okay, No. Russian, German, okay, rules, well, that'll be there. Okay. Okay. F3 and night move disruption 60%. So that is why it's worth reading those notes. Then you understand the variations between the alternate and the standard, if I can put it that way. So what we're going to do is have a look at this one here, maybe play a few turns and see what we can see. This map is from the scenario called the Pocket. I thought I'd just show you this map because you can see there's Medvin, so that's to the southwest of the Pocket. So the scenario that we're going to play today depicts when the Pocket was forming. So up the top here we have the 27th Army, morale D. Down here further in fixed is the 233rd Tank Brigade. The most interesting thing about these guys, they belong to the 6th Tank Army, and I believe they mainly had Lease tanks, which in this case here is the Sherman M4A2. So we'll get them at some stage during proceedings. The 337th Rifle Division, morale D, and you can see the infantry units are D, a Rifle Battalion Plus. So these guys are obviously our strike force, one of our strike force divisions, and also the 180th Rifle Division, similarly D. Yep. Right, so then as we go further down, we get to the 167th Rifle Division, morale C, a little bit better there. Interestingly, these guys only have a strength of 265, so one would suggest these guys are more like a screening force at this stage to hold the line rather than be on a fence. A little bit more to the west here we have the 40th Army, and up here I'm sure many of you recognise that smiling face as Marshal Vatutin himself, headquarters 1st Ukrainian Front. So our guys down here are the 5th Guards Tank Corps. These guys are morale D, C. What sort of? They have T-34s at morale C, but not a significant number of vehicles, only 9 and 9. So they'll be useful, but they're not going to be incredibly decisive, but we'll see how we go. 47th Rifle Corps, morale C. So fair enough. Okay, so let's have a look at the weather. Snow conditions, visibility 1 kilometre, 80% chance of snow, 20 of frozen, and possible visibility improving tomorrow from 2 to 4 kilometres. On the victory dialogue, we have to get 801 points to get a draw, and we have to earn every one of those points. So it would suggest that we're going to make a lot of German kills to make up that score, given that Bogoslav is 100, Dubinsky is 50, Medvin 200, Krasnogorka 50, so that's only what, 300, 400 if we get all the victory locations. So then we would need 401 kill points, so looks like it's a pretty tough ask. So at this stage one would think the main axis of advance is down this primary road, and of course that's where you would think would be the line of the most resistance. So how we're going to go about this is going to be interesting. Do we have to go via this tree line to get down here, or I'm not sure. So it's going to be a bit of fun here. We've only got 18 turns to do it. And also, don't be surprised if in this scenario we get mud as well. I'm not sure if when the mud came into this particular campaign. So, and we start off up here. First big question, I guess, is where do we put our engineer? Do we go north and take out this minefield, or do we go to the east, as I say, against our main axis of advance? Perhaps I'll try and outflank this situation here, although I've got these guys here, purple and brown, going that way. So okay, I'll definitely push to the south. So our first move will be with our engineers into that minefield. Okay, so we didn't break, so that's something. Right, so oh, rats. Okay, so we've got one disrupted already, so we need to bring in our rocket artillery. Notice we're only 4 against hard, but 25 against soft, so well, afraid at this stage we just have to get at least one man in each of these bunkers. That stops them from getting replacements, and over time we would then hope to wear them down so that we can disrupt them and then push them out of these bunkers, which is never much fun. Just try and get the fatigue going in the bunkers. No effects, that's a 0, but the fatigue level is double when they're in a bunker, so that's all we can do at this stage. So these two chaps here we'll put in with, do we want to go that way? Put them in with our engineer. Wow. Do we go there? Gosh, good question, isn't it? Okay, so we'll try. No, we'll be brave. The Russians are brave. Move him forward. Move him forward. seems a bit of a waste to use those rockets on the bunkers, but that's all we can see at the moment. So let's have a look up here. Nothing. 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 You can move down to there. Might as well get him closer. Right. Okay, so these guys, move him to there. Okay. Engineer. I think we've got to go do the Russian treatment on the minefields. Ooh, 18 men, that hurts. We might as well get him closer to the action he's stockpiled. So we're banging our heads against these bunkers. Ooh. So there's a bit of good news for us. Disruption is what we're after. We won't be able to assault this turn obviously, but hopefully next time. Move him across here. Bloody dog. Okay. Right, these chaps, as I mentioned, these guys are going to be more of a screening force. Bunker. So it's Bunker City at the moment. Alright, so let's go down here now. These guys down the bottom here, they are fixed in position, so not much I can do there just at the moment. Pretty weak Bridgie there, only 72 men, so he can't do much. When these guys come up, the tracked vehicles actually perform quite well in the snow, so we can make them go cross country, whereas the rest of our guys, particularly in the wheeled transport, they'll have to go up via the road. Okay, we'll even get old Vatutin moving. Okay, let's get our guns on the move. Not sure which way to take them, whether I should go back that way and I'll come down south. Right, and our engineers, nice strong engineers too at 405, so we need to get these guys into the fray. Okay. And we've got some bridges. Okay, so these guys are always interesting. If you have them on the board, there's a reason for it. And that is that, because we don't have any air. Oh, we might have some more artillery, do we? We have these guys. Okay, yeah, we might as well. One man, that's at least something. Let's go for this guy. Right, so that's all we have. So ideally, in the next turn or two, we'd like to push some of these guys out of their bunkers so that we can use our rocket artillery on them. All these just become disrupted. It seems everywhere we go so far, they're in bunkers. So as that document mentioned, the best way for the Soviets to attack is via assault, and particularly with an SMG based division or with engineers. Stacking in this scenario, I think it's about 1300 per hex, which with these 530 infantry basically means it's 2 infantry and the 1 engineer. So as much as possible we want to get as close to that 1300 number as we can. Maybe get anti-tank guns in there as well, I'm not sure. As you saw in the first turn in the snow, there's not a lot of mobility. For these infantry guys, it's 1 hex. Cross country. Hence why we'll probably need to stick reasonably closely to the roads. Right, and so ends the first turn, or 0600. So we lose our rockets in 2 turns. Our engineers did some good work for us, clearing those mines, so that's always good news. So we've got 2 units disrupted and recovered losses. Right, so at least we have 1 unit which is disrupted. My original plan, I've only got 1 unit. I cannot imagine a 510 infantry getting these guys out by themselves. Well, let's run some artillery first. So these are a tank destroyer, is it? Issue 76, so hard 19-1, soft 22, assault 2. So it has quite anemic in assault, but quite good in the direct fire. So what we need to do is get him in a direct fire position. We'll give this a go, but I'm not exactly optimistic. We'll see what happens. Only because he's disrupted. Wow! I did not expect that to be a win, but I will take it. So that was good news. Oh, I trust him to be disrupted. Okay, well that makes it very interesting for us. This chap here was disrupted, remember that from last time. So let's give this chap a bit of love here, or should we go for this one over? No. Okay. Can we have a bit of good fortune here, maybe? Oh, well, that's pretty amazing. That's a reconnaissance unit. We don't know exactly what size the reconnaissance unit is, but you would have thought the infantry unit would have been a lot tougher than the recon unit. So that's very interesting just there. So let's go down to this guy down here. I think it just shows you how important it is to get a disruption on these guys in the bunkers. I didn't think this chap had a chance, but he came good for us. So we've got 1,050 or something in there, and we've got 160. Don't know if he can go in there or not, can he? Oh, he can go in there. Rightio. Let's give this guy up. Not us getting disrupted. Oh. Well, that was pretty disappointing. So we need a disruption, don't we? Okay, so we're just going to have to go for broke. And can we send him in as well? Yeah, that's what I thought would be the case. Right, so here goes. Well, that's more satisfactory. In fact, we've got him below 100, so that's somewhat encouraging. Another bunker. Now, these guys here, the disruptor guy, I'll move him back towards the headquarters. Hopefully you can get him out of disruption. This guy, can he move backwards? Oh, he can. Okay, well that's reasonably good. Hopefully he'll get out of disruption. Oh, actually that means we've still got him as an attacker, so let's have a go. Given our recent success. Well, I'll be blowed. There we go. So that's been extremely successful from my perspective. So these guys can move down. What's this chap here? He's a purple one, so he can move down. Can he reach this guy? I don't think. Oh, he can. So what we'd like to do is totally eliminate these guys once they get pushed out of the bunkers. Won't move into there because he probably end up staying there in T mode, which means he'll get blasted. So let's grab our artillery dialogue there. Oh, right. Excellent. So we'll have a go at this one. Right, and they're disrupted, so I don't like to fire when they're disrupted. Especially not at bunkers, because they can hardly do anything when they're at full strength. Righty-o. So at this stage, it's a matter of keep moving our guys across, see if we can find something. Hey, 2 bunkers at the top. Right, so look at that disrupted. So we can move him down to there. Keep trying to move south, I think. He's fired. Move him to there. He's fired. We'll start moving this guy down because he's going to have to help get these guys, some of these guys, out of disruption. What have I got in there now? Okay, I've got 38 guns. Okay, that's no problems at all. So I should be able to move him. Oh no, that's movement of 7 and 7. Yeah, so they can't move back. But I like to move them back away from combat so that they can marry up with the headquarters and hopefully get out of disruption. Disrupted. Yeah, so. Oh, rats. Rats. So what I might do is, is that different elevation? That's 220, and that's 220. Oh, blast. Not sure why I couldn't move up to that. Okay, anyway, so that's probably the main for this scenario. The main movement. So the question for this guy is, do we want to leave him here so our artillery can have a pot shot? Maybe I'll move him back. Yeah, so we don't know how many men's in there. I'll have a look out here. Oops. Ah, there's something interesting. This guy's got less than 100 troops in there, so he might be worth checking out. This guy's got yeah, more than 100, probably 150, something like that sort of strength. Yeah, so what I'm moving this headquarters north is trying to get this chap here into the command range. He should be in command range there. No, I'll leave that guy there. He's already fired. Might as well get this guy on his bike and get him involved with the war. This guy is stockpiled, so he hasn't found a snow, so we need to get a spotter for him. Chaps down the bottom are still fixed, and these guns will move them south. Get old Smiley down, and that, as they say, is that. So I was a little bit surprised there. We're at 0800 hours and we've cleared 2 bunkers. Although, having said that, right behind the bunker we cleared was another bunker. So it's a matter of digging through them at this stage. I'm not sure what my troops are going to do up north. No, disrupted. So this force emanating from Luka, Kosh-Evatoi, that's obviously our main strike force against the probably the strongest part of the defence as well, but with movement being like it is, I think we don't have a lot of options. Disruption is an issue for us because we need our troops in good nick so they can do assaults, and the Soviets generally are slower to come out of disruption than Axis units, or German units anyway. I think I'm just providing the German artillery with targets down south. I don't have enough artillery down here to sort of counter battery at the same sort of rate, particularly against bunkers, and my guys are in the clear, so I think the best we can get out of these guys is just a screen type force. Right, so the end of the 0800 turn. So in another turn the rockets leave us, sadly. 5 out of 9 undisrupted. Okay, 4 recovered losses. So all very interesting. Unfortunately, none of the... Well, he's disrupted. So that's very interesting. He's not, sadly. Oh, we've got another unit here, possibly not in a bunker. And our bunker guy there. So it's all looking very interesting at this stage. If you're interested in digging into the Korsun pocket, I can recommend Zetling and Frankson's book as a good source and a good read. Thanks, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.